Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Annie Z with What If Ash Started Off with Mew, part 6. So let's get started. Ash is currently relaxing in his home as he was thinking over the Hoenn League and how he had conquered every league he'd went to. He then hears a knock on his door. As he opens up, he sees Professor Oak, who tells him that he should go to the Sinnoh region so that Oak could get more information on legendaries and brag to professors that his sponsor student is the best, and also so that Ash can compete and conquer yet another league. Ash then sees Gary, who is also prepping to go to Sinnoh, the same with Richie and AJ, all declaring that they will win the league and defeat Ash, which causes Ash to chuckle at them and welcome the challenge. It's on you guys, try and defeat me if you can, Ash says, as Ash decided he will only take Mew with him, as the other three decided to take the starters with them as well. Ash then arrives to Sinnoh town. Because there was no Team Rocket, he arrives at Professor Rowan's lab without any trouble. On the way there, Ash meets Paul, who demands Ash for a 3-on-3. Ash tells Paul that they can either battle 1-on-3 or they could go back to the lab as Ash requests his other Pokemon. Paul, being the impatient little cunt he is and seeing an advantage, chooses to have a 1v3 against Ash having one Pokemon and him having 3. Ash accepts as Paul sends out Chimchar. Ash sends out Mew, shocking Paul, who knows that this is a legend. Wait, you're Ash Ketchum, the legendary trainer, he states as Ash smirks. Yeah, and you're toast, he replies, as Paul gets angry. Don't get cocky. You only won because of the legends, but I'm going to prove to you that my Pokemon can beat your legends. You're just like Brandon using legends, as Ash smirks. Paul then tells Chimchar to use Flamethrower, as Ash tells Mew to dodge using Teleport, and then use Hydro Pump, knocking out Chimchar. Paul then stood in awe before Ash told him to hurry up, snapping him out of his thoughts as he sends out Elekid. Ash then tells Mew to use Earthquake, knocking it out. Paul then sends in Starly, which is then knocked out by a Stone Edge. Ash then walks away as he looks at Paul with a look of disappointment and then smirks at him. But before he left, he stated, "Get stronger and lose the attitude. The whole putting people down only works if you're strong enough to do so, Paul," Ash says as Paul gets mad, vowing he will beat Ash. As Ash, when far away from Paul, smirked. "He will make a good rival. I can see the potential in him. I just need to give him motivation. And what's the best motivation to make him look like a complete joke? That will surely bring out his potential, and I will get a good battle." Ash then arrived at Oreburgh Gym, beating Paul to the gym first, as Paul decided to watch. "Ash Ketchum, I've heard a lot about you. Let's see if the legends about you are real." Rourke then sends out Geodude. Ash then sends out Mew, shocking Rourke, as Mew uses Hydro Pump, which shocked Rourke off his speed. "So, this is your legendary Mew. Its speed is off the charts, and its power unbelievable," says Rourke, as he then sends in Onyx, who is then taken out by another Surf. "Don't think you won, Ash. This is where the true battle begins. Go Rampardos," he says, as Ash uses a Hydro Pump, knocking it out. Ash then got his badge. After that, Ash goes to Interna City and faces off against Gardena, who sends out Cherry Brim, as Ash sends out Mew, shocking her as Ash's Mew uses Fire Blast, knocking out. The same proceeds to happen to Roserade and Turtwig, which got Ash the second gym badge. Ash then meets Gary, who tells Ash that soon he will beat him, as Gary walks away, as Ash skips over Hearthstone City, learning that the gym leader is not there. He then goes to Veilstone City, where he battles Maylene, and Ash's Mew uses Psychics against the Meta-type, which was then repeated on Machoke and Lucario, which got Ash the gym badge. Maylene was shocked to see how the legendary Ash Ketchum battled, seeing how Mew badly destroyed her Pokemon, not even letting her get a single hit in. On the way to Hearthstone, Ash meets Paul, who wanted a rematch as they have a battle. Ash beats Paul's Torterra Gliscor with a Fire Blast. Ash then makes it to Pastoria City and faces off against Crusher Wake. Ash sends out his Mew, and Crusher Wake sends out his Gyarados, which is then taken out by a Thunderbolt from Mew, as Floatzel and Quagsire quickly follow, but with Quagsire being taken out by an Energy Ball instead of a Thunderbolt, getting Ash the gym badge as he leaves the gym. Ash then goes to Hearthstone City, where he faces off against Fatina. Ash then gets interrupted by Paul and Barry, who also wanted to battle. Ash then proposes they have a 1v1 to see who gets to go first. The other two agreed. Paul beats Barry with his Torterra, knocking out his Empoleon, and then Ash beats Torterra with his Mew. Ash then battles Fantina, as Ash sends out Mew and Fantina sends out Gengar, who uses a Shadow Ball but Mew dodges using Teleport, and then uses a Psychic to beat it. Ash then sends out Drifloon, who's knocked out by a Thunderbolt. She then uses Mischievous, who's knocked out by Dark Pulse, winning Ash the next gym badge. Ash then makes it to Kalami City, where he sees a Darkrai who's causing nightmares. Ash finds this out and goes on a quest to capture Darkrai. He also learns about Cresselia and wants to capture that as well. Ash then challenges Cresselia first. Ash uses Mew's Shadow Ball, which Cresselia responds with her own Psychic. Ash then spams Shadow Ball until it is weak enough to be captured. Ash then faces off against Darkrai, who tried to use Dark Pulse hurting Mew, but due to Mew's higher level making it more resistant, Ash managed to use Hypnosis, making it fall asleep, and then spam Aura Sphere. When it wakes up, Ash uses a Thunder Wave and Hypnosis once again, and then throws a Pokeball capturing it. Ash then faces off against Byron, and Ash sends out Mew, who solos his gym with a Fire Blast. After Ash got the gym badge, where he goes to a cave and he meets Heatran. Ash then uses Mew, who uses Hydro Pump and Hypnosis, allowing Ash to capture it. Ash then faces off against Candice, who sends out a Sneasel. Ash then sends out Mew, and uses Fire Blast, knocking out Sneasel. Candice then sends out Magichan, and Ash switches to Cresselia, shocking Candice, who knows this Pokemon. It's a legendary from their region. Ash then has Cresselia use Psychic, shooting out Magichan. Ash then faces off against Abomasnow, which makes Ash switch out to Darkrai, as Darkrai uses Dark Void to make it sleep, and then uses Nightmare to defeat Abomasnow, winning Ash the gym badge. Ash then sees Hunter J, who's hunting down the Reggies. Ash stops her, and Regigigas and the other 3 Reggies are then defeated by Ash as they go in outrage, as Ash then captured them. Ash then sees Paul, who's battling Candice and losing. After losing, he sees the Belt Pyramid. He wants revenge for his brother and challenges, but he got wrecked. Brandon suggests Ash faces off against Paul, but Ash refuses, saying Paul isn't ready and he is weak. Brandon got angry at Ash's attitude and challenges him to a 1v1. Ash then faces Registeel with Regigigas. After Brandon got some Iron Heads in because of Regigigas' slow start, Ash uses Earthquake, beating Registeel. Paul is angry and shocked. He then came up to Ash and shouted, "Catch him, I'll beat you. In order to avenge my brother, I will now have to beat you." Paul said as Ash smirked. "Whatever, just make sure you're strong enough and I'll be ready," Ash says as he walked away. On the way to Sunny Shore City, Ash stops Team Galactic, but Dialga and Palkia escape. The Late Guardians join Ash because he helped them out and saved them from Team Galactic, and they bonded with Mew. Ash then meets them again, where they are battling against each other. Ash's Darkrai wants to help, so Ash challenges Dialga using Dark Void to make it sleep, and then uses Nightmare, eventually weakening it enough to capture it. After that, Ash goes against Palkia and uses the same tactics to capture it. After that, Ash meets Shaman, who befriends Mew, who joins Ash after Ash saves it from an angry Giratina that was angry that Dialga and Palkia was causing mayhem in its dimension. Ash then sends out both of his Giratina and Palkia and uses Roar of Time and Spatial Rend combination move, weakening Giratina enough. He then sends out Darkrai, who uses Dark Void, and then he sends out Mew, who uses Thunder Wave, as he captures it in a Pokeball and leaves. Ash then makes it to Machinima Town, where he sees Arceus attacking the locals. He then uses Dialga to save the town by returning the Jewel of Life. He then challenges Arceus, who accepts after seeing Ash fully control his children, his most powerful children. Ash then sends out Regigigas, who is one-shotted. This will continue until Ash sends out the Creation Trio. Ash then has the Creation Trio use a combination of Roar of Time, Spatial Rend, and Shadow Falls, as the 3 Pokemon knocks Arceus to its last knees, as Ash then throws a Master Ball at it, as he captures it. The Master Ball he got from Mew, too. After that, Ash goes to Shiny Shore City. He then meets Flint, who tells him to reignite Volkner's spark. Ash accepts, as then he challenges Volkner with Regigigas, who knocks out all of his Pokemon with Earthquake. Ash then reaches the Pokemon League after getting his gym badge. After 2 months, he registers, and after a day, he is then reunited with his rivals, who are AJ, Richie, and Gary and Paul. Ash then enters the first round against AJ. AJ sends out Pikachu, as then Ash sends out Dialga, shocking everyone, including Cynthia, who was there and saw Dialga and Palkia leave to their dimensions. Ash then tells Dialga to use Earth Power, one-shotting it. AJ then sends out his Aggron. Who is once again one-shotted by Dialga, leaving the crowd in awe of the god's power. AJ then sends out Infernape, but is one-shotted by Earth Power once again, leaving the audience even awe even in more of Dialga's power. Ash then faces Richie, who sends out his own Magmortar, as Ash sends out his Palkia, shocking Cynthia even more, and even the crowd, as they saw Ash had the God of Space and the God of Time on his team. Ash then has Palkia use Hydro Pump to knock out Magmortar. Richie then sends in Mamoswine, who starts off with the Earthquake, but Palkia is unfazed. Palkia then uses Hydro Pump, one-shotting it. Richie then sends out Charizard and Mega Evolves it, who gets one-shotted by Hydro Pump. As Ash walked away after being declared the winner, the whole crowd was in shock. Ash then faces against Paul, who has fear on his face after seeing Ash's power, but he then looks at AJ, who is his rival, and smirks. He will prove that his way was better than AJ's. Paul then sends out Torterra as Ash sends out Giratina. At this point, Cynthia, as well as the Elite Four, fell off their chairs as they saw the legendary master, who gets all legends of the regions when he visits, legend come true because he had the three creation gods on his side. Paul looked at the Pokemon before him in fear. He heard the rumors of it, the Pokemon that was banished for rebelling against Arceus, as Ash ordered Giratina to use Shadow Force, knocking out Torterra, which is then repeated on his Drapion. How do you have these? Paul yelled, as Ash just smirked and replied, "Send out your final Pokemon, Paul. Don't deny the inevitable." Wanted to piss Paul off to see if he could draw out some of Paul's latent potential, but it was not going to happen. As Paul set out his Earth Ring and used the Hyper Beam, but Giratina used Shadow Force, going into shadows, avoiding the beam as it struck Earth Ring, making it faint. Ash then walked away as he went to go and observe the battle of a man that was rumored to be on his level, but was then interrupted by a blonde girl wearing black coming towards him. "So, you're the legendary master Ash Ketchum, who's never lost a fight. I'm Cynthia, a champion, and I'm looking forward to battling you at the Champions Cup in a few years. Just get 6 league badges and you can enter," she said, smiling as Ash smirked at her and walked to the round of the person that was said to be on his level as his eyes widened. A few hours later, Ash had gotten over what he saw. He then saw Gary Oak enter the ring as he entered it as well. Gary then sends out his Magmortar as Ash sends out his Palkia, who uses a Hydro Pump and wins. Gary then sends out his Garchomp as Ash switches to Dialga, who is hit by a Draco Meteor but looked unharmed as Dialga uses Roar of Time, knocking it out. Gary then sent out his Brozong as Darkrai was sent in by Ash. Everyone was once again shocked at seeing another Sinnoh legendary, but they were more shocked since Tobias also had this Pokemon, as Ash then one-shotted Bronzong with a Dark Pulse. Gary, getting agitated, sent out Aggron as Ash switches to Heat Run and uses a Fire Blast, knocking it out. Gary then sent out Lucario as Ash sends out Mew, who uses a Psychic and knocks it out. Gary then sends out Blastoise as Ash sends out Giratina, who uses a Shadow Force, winning the match. Ash then goes and faces the walking action replay himself, Tobias. "So, we finally meet, Ketchum," Tobias says. "Yeah, I saw your match. This should be my best match yet," Ash says. Tobias then sends a Darkrai as Ash sends out Dialga. Darkrai tries to use Dark Void, but Dialga uses Protect and then uses the Aura Spear, knocking it out. Tobias then switches to Latios as Ash switches to Giratina and uses Shadow Force, knocking out Latios. "Damn you! Who do you think you are? How do you have these powerful Pokemon? How do you have the legends? How do you have these gods under your control? This should be mine, the Sinnoh legendaries," Tobias yelled out in rage, which Ash just returns Giratina and looks at Tobias. Hey, Tobias, I'll make a deal with you since your ego's too high. If you can beat one of my Pokemon with your remaining last few Pokemon, you win," Ash says. "You're so on," Tobias says, seeing it as an opportunity to win and keep his record clean. As then, Ash then sends out his Arceus to the stage as the whole stage was eyes widened as they were silent. Even Cynthia's eyes bulged out as news reporters everywhere were taking pictures and writing down headlines. 10-year-old controls God. And other headlines like, "Can Ash Ketchum ever be defeated?" As Tobias looked at it in fear before he fearfully took out his Pokeball and sent out his Regigigas. "Use Earthquake," Tobias says, trying to get Regigigas first. But Ash didn't even order Arceus, as when the Earthquake hit Arceus wasn't even moved. In fact, the tremors didn't even look like it hurt Arceus. "Impossible. How? What are you?" Tobias says, as Ash put on a smirk on his face as he was putting down the cocky bastard. "Judgment," Ash says, as Regigigas was KO'd. Tobias then sent out Infernape as it looked at its god in fear. "Earthquake," Ash says, as Infernape fell. Tobias then sent out Garchomp. "Hyper Beam," Arceus says, knocking it out. "Winner Ash Ketchum," the proctor started out as Ash returned Arceus and got his trophy. After that, he teleported out before the news reporters can start questioning him as he teleported home. But guys, that's all for today. Peace.